today's launch party. I am Sonali Thacker, and I'm really excited to be here and talk to all of you, as well as read some paragraphs from my story from this beautiful book, Woven. Here's my copy, and I can't be more excited. It has been an amazing journey to have this book in hand, and how it all started. And I'll be talking more about my journey about this project. I call Woven as my dream project because it has been very personal and a deep experience writing this story in this beautiful book. And so before I dive into much into that, I just want to briefly introduce myself. So as I said, I'm Sonali Thacker. I have published another book called Konichiwa Japan, which was based on my experiences as an international exchange student to Japan while I was at the university. So that's my first book. It's a memoir where I shared my experiences living in a different country and trying to learn and experience a different culture. And it was amazing to be there. And Woven is my second book, and I can't be more happy. As I said, this book is very personal and dear to me, especially the story that I share with Woven. And I'll get a little bit into that soon. So first thing first, I want to talk about all the people that I've dedicated this book and the chapter to, because without those people I wouldn't be where I am today, and they've been an integral part of my journey, my success, my failures, my everything, and who I am. So I've dedicated this book to my husband Harsh and my lovely son Arav, and these are the two men in my life who've made so many things different for me. So I dedicate this book to them, and it's to the two most powerful women in my life who I have known and lived with. My late grandmother, who I used to call Baya with love, and my mom, because the strong woman that I am today is because of these two powerful and strong women who I saw while growing up. I saw how hard they struggle. I saw how they fought so that we could have a better life. So it's to those two lovely women in my life, and then to my dad, who has always been my writing inspiration. Like, even if I wrote silly poems at the age of 4 or 5, he appreciated them, and even today we laugh about the poems I made, and he's always inspired to continue writing and reading, lots of reading. So it's to him. And at the end, I would like to also take this opportunity, as I've put it into the book, that I dedicate this book to all the Endo warriors. And because life with any chronic illness is challenging and difficult, and that's all what I talk about in my story. And I think it would be a good segue for me to just talk a little bit about the story. So the chapter itself, I like to call it a story rather than chapter, but it's named, the chapter is 8, and the title is Adi Shakti, the Supreme Goddess. I come from a Hindu Brahmin family, and so growing up worshipping and believing in the power of the Supreme, the spiritual, has been an integral part of my raising, and I always believed in the Supreme Goddess. And so when I was writing the chapter, and as the story was kind of unfolding, I think my developmental editor, Tanya, she suggested this title, and I'm like, yeah, it kind of fits perfectly, but I still wanted to give it a thought. But then in the end, I thought it was coming out perfect, because it's the story of a woman, a South Asian woman who's immigrated from India to Canada, and how hard she tries to be where she wants to be, and all my struggles about trying to stay in this country, Canada, which I call home, and also how pregnancy and maternity and postpartum changes that I saw in my life completely changed my life, and that is all what I write about. Like, I know I've written so much about in my blog. I write about parenting, and I write about kids activities and how to make your life easy to go on, but I've never really spoken about my struggles, which actually started postpartum with endometriosis. And when I first heard of the term, I really wasn't even aware what it was, whether it was scarier, like how intense the disease or illness was. I had no idea about it. The only introduction I had with endometriosis was when my sister had a similar condition, and they had removed a cyst for her, which was the only information I had when I first heard of the term. And it was funny because for 5 long years, it was not a diagnosis. It was more of a presumptive condition. So you don't really know if that's what you have, but all the symptoms would say, yes, that's what you have. And so it made the treatment plans more challenging, more difficult. And as a working mom, a full-time working mom, trying to manage your work life, your daily life, like raising a child, still trying to get out there, keep a smiley face, and do what you gotta do, it became an everyday routine. Like, even if it wasn't myself, I had to drag myself around. But instead of sitting down feeling depressed, falling into a ditch, I kind of just got myself together and tried to be there. Oh, sorry, I'm seeing some comments now. Hi, Mommy. Hi, Tanya. Hi, Dad. So proud and glad that you guys are all here. Thanks for joining. And so, sorry, back to back to where I was. And so, as I said, I tried. It was hard for me initially to understand, because I'm one of those people who really did so much hard. Like, I really cared so much about my body. I was very body conscious. Like, I always wanted to be in the best shape I could. I did yoga, I did meditations, I did Reiki. So it's like all the things that would make me feel better and that would help me keep my body healthy and going each day. But when I encountered or I met with endometriosis, again, the presumptive one, my life started changing, because I had a C-section and things were not very interesting after. And all my struggles, as I mentioned, started postpartum, and it was like, okay, do I live, or do I just leave everything and just be in the bed all day, every day? But then I started to divert my energy into things that I liked doing. I started writing blogs. I started doing more fun activities with my son. I started reading more books, trying to do things that will make me happy. And then there were days I didn't want to do anything, and all I did was just hug my heat pad and sat down all day, every day. So I think it's important how you come over challenges, because trust me, nobody's life is perfect, or no human is perfect, but how you deal with it, how you live with it, and how you move along is what matters a lot. And that's what I learned through all these challenging days that I had. And I'm so glad and pleased to share that only 2 weeks ago, finally, the diagnostic surgery that I was awaiting and a few other procedures to actually find out if I had endometriosis was successfully done. And yes, I had endometriosis. It was spread in quite a few places, which is now removed, and I'm on a positive road to recovery. So that's a whole and soul of a positive story. But going back to my woven story, I really want to read some pieces. And as I mentioned, my story has intertwined connections, because the story, I talk about my immigration story and how it kind of twined into my pregnancy and then into my postpartum challenges. So I'll just read some paragraphs from my chapter again. As I said, it is Adi Shakti, the Supreme Goddess, chapter 8. And this is a beautiful book. Trust me, not just my chapter, but all the authors have very powerful and amazing stories which would touch you in one way or the other. So this book it's a perfect combination of everything. There's emotions, there's pain, there's love, there's everything, and that's what you want while you're reading a book. So definitely, if you haven't gotten your hands on it yet, please do so. And so I'll just read up, and my chapter starts with a quote from the story of my experiments with truth by Mahatma Gandhi. I'm a big follower of Gandhiji, and when I was writing this book, my challenges, the only quote I could think of was by him. And so the quote goes this way, and as I quote: "When every hope is gone, when help fails and comfort flees, I find that help arrives somehow from I know not where. Supplication, worship, prayers are no superstition. They are acts more real than the acts of eating, drinking, sitting, or walking. It is no exaggeration to say that they alone are real. All else is unreal." And this is what, as I said, helped me get going while I was constantly trying to find myself in midst of all the craziness. And now the excerpts from my chapter. Okay, so the magical moment I experienced 4.5 years ago is still fresh in my mind. All the pain and uneasiness vanished when I first held my son Arav in the recovery room and breastfed him. To me, in that instant, I became a mother. I know some women experience motherhood the moment they discover they are pregnant. For me, this transition from womanhood to motherhood became real the moment I first held my son close and took in how he looked, how he felt, how he smelled, and how my body created and birthed this tiny human who is the embodiment of love. Pregnancy changes a woman's body in many ways. I had heard this truth from many women around me, including friends and family, but I only realized it when I became pregnant and birthed my little human into this world. I was in awe of how our bodies as women are powerful and strong, and how they can create, nourish, and sustain life. I was the creator of his life, and this feeling left me feeling powerful. As a Hindu Brahmin woman, I felt the power of Adi Shakti, the supreme goddess. Yes, we are powerful indeed. And we can yield and weave this power and strength into all facets of our life. As my motherhood journey began, I couldn't help but reflect on my pregnancy and my journey as an immigrant woman who would soon give birth to her baby, who would be a first-generation Canadian. The baby was timely and planned, as we were hoping to get our permanent residencies by the time I was due. I learned the hard way that plans we have for ourselves often do not work the way we envision them to. Woody Allen once said, I quote, "If you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans," unquote. I was 9 weeks pregnant when I received an email from Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada that changed everything. My PR application had been rejected. I would have to leave Canada in 3 months. All the hopes, dreams, and aspirations I came with were crushed within seconds. I'm not ready to leave. I did not come here to go back. There was no second thought to this. I cannot leave. I do not want to leave. My life is here. This country is home to me, to us, to our soon-to-be-born baby. After 422 days of challenges, hurdles, numerous visits to the lawyers' offices, multiple immigration applications, thousands of dollars spent from our savings, uncounted tears, and delivering a handsome, healthy little human, good news struck our door. With an uneventfully healthy and normal pregnancy, minus severe morning sickness, I loved myself during those 9 months. The itchy stretch marks around my waist and belly were my tiger stripes, my badge of honor, and my warrior marks that documented the growth of life within me and from me. I had always read a lot of women experience postpartum depression. Luckily, I did not feel that. but I had other struggles of my own. Living with chronic pain is not fun. There are a lot of unknowns. There are days that could be absolute best, while others could turn out to be nightmares. A lot of things are unpredictable. However, having lived with pain for close to 5 years, I know my triggers. You are not your pain or your diagnosis, but you are your mindset. You are your approach to life and challenges that it throws your way. Your body is beautiful, strong, and nourishing force with which to be reckoned. Be gentle with it. Be gentle with yourself while still building your strength and perseverance. Focus on each life-altering moments and the good that it has to offer. And on days when it is incredibly hard to focus on all that is good, positive, and amazing about your life, remember this one thing. Your pain is your secret weapon. It is here to help you deepen your self-love, self-trust, and acceptance, while giving you the power to change your life, one small step at a time. As women, we have power of the divine and powerful goddess within us. Our stories are intertwined with each other, across borders, across cultures, across all generations. So that is bits and pieces from the story, and I hope you get your hands on to read the full story. And I just want to read the quote that I love most from this book, which you'll also see on the first opening page of my chapter, which is, life cannot, does not, and should not stop because of things that are beyond your control. However, you can carve a path that makes your life a little more enjoyable, consistent, and reliable. So that ends my reading piece, and I just want to take again this opportunity to reflect upon things that have really helped me get where I am today. No matter, again, as I said, no matter where you come from, how you look, how you talk, or what you're going through, you are your own power. No matter how challenging or hard it is to get through, you will get through, because it's only you who know yourself and nobody else. And so if ever you feel like you don't know what to do about it, just sit, think, pause, and then start again, and you'll be where you want to be. So again, thank you so much for joining me. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Sabrina from YGT Media, because Sabrina, it's been a pleasure writing for Woven again. And I know when I started writing the story, it was completely a different story. And again, Tanya, our developmental editor, I feel like I have a personal connection with Tanya. Even though we haven't never met, we've only had calls, like video call or messages, but it feels like a very deep connection. So thank you, Tanya, for helping me make this chapter the way I wanted it to be, and covering and highlighting the story that I wanted to share with the world. Again, as I said, this is a very personal story. I've never spoken about my immigration or my challenges with endometriosis with anybody, but this was my chance, and you made me do it. So thank you, Tanya, for doing that for me, and all my co-authors, because all of your stories are as powerful, and I have learned so much, and I'm trying to grow along with your stories as I read them. And I feel like we as women are the power within ourselves, and we're probably going to make the change, and we are making the change that we need to make. So if you haven't gotten your copies yet, please do so. They're available on Amazon, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that folks have. Be sure to leave comment. If you're watching this video as a replay, please leave in a replay or say hello. And thank you once again for joining and listening to the story. I hope I can at least bring a smile and share the story to help you be a little more powerful and a little more stronger. Just look within yourself, because you'll find yourself in you and nowhere else. Thank you again and have a great day. Bye.